Okay, the Rebbe, now we're learning the Dvar Malchut, the words, royal words of the Rebbe. So the Rebbe is sort of, I guess, for lack of a better word, the Rebbe is trying to make us crazy and to really believe and even more to anticipate. And the Rebbe later on said, but not here, to even be broken and crushed from the fact that there's any sort of ignorance in the world about what God really is and what the Torah is really and what the truth is. And everybody, we should feel bad. Why? Because it's depending on us. Somehow or other, it depends on us. And not just us, it depends on me. I am not doing enough. I have to do something. Something, be more positive about it, be more. So we should be crushed on one end, but the only way we can succeed is by being pleasant and happy and positive. So we have to embody these two opposites. We have to be motivated by the fact that the world is in deep, 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 deep exile. And the things are not the way they're supposed to be. And if the things were the way they're supposed to be, there wouldn't be any disease in the world. There wouldn't be any confusion in the world. There wouldn't be any Jews that don't know what Judaism is. There won't be any non-Jews that hate the Jews. There won't be wars or famine or disease or lies or tricks or the scams, the Corona scam, and all this, shots and all this stuff. There wouldn't be any of these things, and there are. They're bountiful. They're plentiful. There's a cornucopia of deceit and lies and how do you call it, destruction in the world. The whole woke movement is just a big death movement, and people love it, and they vote for people. The more destructive. Oh, I'll vote for this guy. He stole $1 billion. Yeah, I will not never vote for him. He only sold $1 billion. I'm going to vote for him. He stole 10 billion. Ooh, really? I didn't know that. I'll vote for him too. But whoever is the biggest crook and the biggest fool, that's the one who everybody likes, right? It didn't start today. It started a long time ago. But the fact is, why is it still here today? So the reason it's not here today is because of us, or more exactly because of the Jews, or more exactly because of one Jew that's messing the whole thing up. And that one Jew is me, and I have to do more. And everybody should be saying this to themselves. But if you're not, that doesn't mean that I can blame you. So the Rebbe is trying to make us all crazy, to reorient us in this way that we have to always be happy. We always have to be pleasant, and we all, because we know we're serving the creator of the universe and we're making it. But on the other hand, we always have to be, how do you say, crushed by the fact that there's so much left to do. Like a soldier. A soldier goes into a fight, he has to have a positive attitude, he's going to get the enemy. But on the other hand, he knows there's a big enemy. So says the Rebbe that we can learn from, there's all sorts of messages which are being sent to us, and from everything around us, time, place, they're all being sent to us about how this is really our job, and that the goal is very near, and that it depends on us and it depends on our attitude. Okay. So the Rebbe said, after the giving of the Torah, after God gave the Torah, everything became, on one hand, easier. God is helping us. On the other hand, much more difficult, because the task became more immense. It says before the Torah was given, it says, the Torah, before the Torah was given, there were holy people and they fixed up the world, but they fixed it up mostly for themselves. They fixed it up in the spiritual world. When God gave the Torah, so God made it Gomel Dalim, that he made it possible to actually fix up this physical world, the upper worlds and the lower worlds. And why is the Rebbe talking about Gomel Dalim? Because the month of Adar, which is this month, supposed to be the happiest month of the year, is on the third and the fourth day of the month. It was on Tuesday and Wednesday, which is Gimel. And in Hebrew, the word, the number 3 is Gimel, and the word Gimel means to give. And Dalid, number 4, is Dalid. And the word Dalid itself means poverty. So it's giving to the poor. And so it's showing by means of our happiness in the month of Adar and our positivity, and our good attitude, whatever, in the month, then we can fix up this miserable, poor, world we can gomel down in. Okay. What can we learn from this? And that's after the Torah was given. First of all, we can learn from this that God, Posek, has decided in his holy Torah, and the Torah is eternal, and it's relevant to all time, to all the generations, all the Jews, in every place where they are. And the Torah is only given to the Jews. The Jews were in exile, the Jews got out, the Jews went to Sinai, the Jews got the Torah, the Jews worshiped the golden calf. The Jews were forgiven by God, and the Jews got into the land of Israel to fix up the world. So with the Torah. So therefore, this Torah, which is given to us by God on Mount Sinai, God's creating the world, and God, it contains all time. So the Jewish people also became lifted up above all time with the Torah. So the Torah is relevant to all time and to all place. That every single Jew now is, first of all, is gold. And what do we say gold is? Zeh hanotein bari. That we should give to others in a healthy way. That's what every Jew is. Giving to the others in a healthy way. And he say giving even to a healthy world to make the world more healthy. But pashtus and simply, shekol echad ve'echad, that each and every Jew, tzorech liot ashir, it has to be rich. It has to be rich, whether in spiritual or whether in physical. Ashirut pepashtud mamash. Every Jew should really be rich. You should have millions of dollars in your bank account, every Jew, and it should be only in order to give to others. You should have a huge house, a big mansion. It should only be to take in guests and to make meetings. Yeteremizu, even more. Those who bilvad, not only that, it has to be to him, but every single Jew should be rich. Even even if you don't see it physically. It's not because it doesn't exist. You have to just reveal the fact that you are rich by means of your service. There's enough money in the world to make everybody rich, right? It just is in the hands of a few. So communism comes along and says, we got to take it forcefully from them. Judaism comes and says, no, they have to be convinced to give charity, to open their hearts up, open their minds up to give to others. And according to Judaism, the greatest charity is to give a loan, an interest-free loan. Why is a loan better? You give charity, it's better. You lose the money, you're losing a big thing. It says, yeah, maybe you lose the money, but the person who's getting the money, he feels like a worm. He feels that you're better than he is. And he's inferior. He's not giving anything. And the whole essence of man is to give. And a person that he only wants to receive, as he sort of loses his humanity. He feels like a how do you say, like an animal or something. Like you're throwing the dog a bone or something. Adarab, exactly the opposite. A loan is better. While you give a person a loan, it means you're saying, whenever you can, pay me back. But I want the money back. You want to give it to me in another 100 years. 100 years doesn't mean it, but I want the money back. Every penny of it. If you don't give it, your children can give it back. They can give it back to my children. In other words, you can use the money, and then the person has the money. He feels like he's a human being. We're on equal footing, like we just said, to be brothers. Adarabah, by means of giving charity to others, you reveal how rich the other person is. By means of that, you reveal this in this light, this riches inside of the darkness, inside of the poverty. This is made what Yitron or Minachoshech. By taking a person that's poor and making him rich, he appreciates the richness more. He's grateful. Everyone watching this class, I take it for granted that if you're watching the class or you're listening to the class, you have eyes, you have ears, right? Are you thankful to God for your eyes or ears? I know that I am not. Once in a while, yeah. If I have a little problem with my eye, something like that, or I can't hear, then I take it to God. Maybe. Most of them, I couldn't see for a second of that. Oh, that not better. You turn your attention to God. Who turns their attention to God? Once in a while, you open up the prayer book, you see. King David turned his attention to God all the time. He had troubles, nothing but troubles all the time, and his attention was only on God all the time. That's the book of Psalms. That's the way we should be. So therefore, it should be always, we should realize that everything we're getting, everything we have is coming from nothing. Our sight is a miracle. Our hearing, miracle. You have a leg, you have a finger, you have a nose. Huh? You know what a big miracle your nose is? You don't have a nose? Doesn't look. You have a tooth. You have these things are big. Even your earlobes. Everything you've got is a miracle. Maybe there's some things you don't know what to do with, but that's your problem. Everything in the world that you have is a miracle. Every human being. How many earlobes there are in the world? How many people are there? 9 billion people in the world. 18 billion earlobes in the world. All of them are miracles. Who would think? Who cares about that? It says when you realize that everything is coming from nothing, from the darkness, and then you are happy. And not only that, you see people that really are dark. The world really is dark to them. And by helping them, enlightening, Tosfos, this is an additional giving. That's the idea of giving charity. It says that no matter how rich you are, God can make you more rich in a way of tigbor sachayis, to become more and more wealthy. Shenase shatfan, I'm sorry, a flood of physical blessings only for good. Until it transforms also all of the bad things, which are troubles, and when it rains it pours. Sometimes it pours troubles to people, right? It becomes, everything transforms to good and holiness. And as a preparation, this all is a preparation to what it says, that the world will be filled with the awareness of God, like water fills the ocean. And what it means when the water fills the ocean, it means two things. First of all, it means that when water fills the ocean, you see the water. You see water. There's no doubt. You see, there it is, the ocean, right? You're on a ship, and you say, "Can you tell me where's the ocean?" That's ridiculous, right? The ocean is everywhere. You see, obviously, the ocean is being supported by the ocean. If the ocean is up, well, that's what's going to be with godliness. The world is going to be filled with godliness. Everyone is going to feel that everything in the world is a big miracle. Everything. Huh? And that's really the way it is now. But it can be more and more, because God is infinite. You don't just see that God is great because he's creating my house and he's creating this. You start to think about how good God himself is. And the reason we call God masculine all the time is because God is always giving. That's the masculine aspect. Therefore, says the Rebbe, how much more so in our generation, which our generation is the last generation of exile. And it's the first generation of the redemption. Take your choice. We're still in exile. Another second, we're going to go out. Or maybe we'll say, no, we're beginning the redemption now. We just don't appreciate it. After that, we already finished everything. There has to be only just receiving the actual face of the Moshiach, actually. So certainly, God, from this comes all the Chabad is crazy that we say that the Rebbe is the Moshiach, and we have to accept the Moshiach, we have to say, long live the Moshiach and Yechia Melech, because, there are criteria about what Moshiach is. Moshiach is not just some mythical idea that he's going to come riding on a white donkey or a white horse or something like that, right? Those are misinterpretations. It's not going to be some sort of a person that's going to come and say, I'm going to bring you into heaven, you have to believe in me. That's not Mashiach. There's laws about what Mashiach is, clear laws about what Mashiach is. The Lubavitcher Rebbe happens to be. Maybe there's other people also. I don't know. I have to. I don't know everybody, but for sure the Lubavitcher Rebbe has all the qualifications of Mashiach. And the Rambam writes that if Mashiach is murdered, And it seems to be murdered because, like Bar Kochava, that he had the qualifications of Mashiach, but he was murdered because of his sins. In any case, if he was murdered, that disqualifies him. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe certainly was not murdered. And the Gemara says that Mashiach can come from the dead, and it says that the Jews really don't die anyway. All the Jews are going to raise in the raising of the dead. However it is, we have to be crazy for Mashiach. You want to see somebody else's Mashiach, look in the Rambam, find somebody else who have the qualifications. Maybe you think it's yourself. No problem. But you have to be crazy about Mashiach. Then certainly then God will bless every single Jew with richness, gold, physical, spiritual, until the way that the days of going out of Egypt, so I will show you miracles. Every single Jew will have 90, like it says, when the Jews left Egypt, each one had 90 powerful Lubian donkeys. Lubim, it says, and they're all packed with gold and silver of the Egyptians. And they left. So now every Jew will have even more. You'll have 90 bank accounts filled with every Jew. And the reason we'll have this is not for our own personal use, not at all, but maybe 1.001% is for ourselves. The whole rest is only to give to others, to see who needs and to give. Mikach from this is also the teaching that a Jew has to work to be rich. You have to be rich in everything. Beginning, first of all, Ashir is to be rich spiritually. That's first of all. And Ashir elabadat. Richness comes from your mind. Liot Ashir b'Torah v'mitzvahs. You have to be rich in Torah and the commandments. Sometimes a person can have $1 million, so he has the $1 million, but he doesn't know who he himself is. There was this, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it. I knew somebody that was in it. There was a big cult in America. From this guy, some guy came from India, and his followers, they wore orange. And a lot of them were tremendously rich people. And they gave all of their money to him. Why? Because he provided for them pleasure. Pleasure. I mean, it was sexual pleasures. What can we say? The whole thing was just, one huge, big debauchery. One old big that is, with drugs, with everything, anything you want. And people, they were just happy. Ooh, they were happy. They were running around happy. They could do anything they wanted to. And they wanted to, and they did, and this and that, until eventually the whole thing just fell apart. It just all fell apart. People got diseases and all sorts of stuff. It didn't work. But the fact is, that's not the point I'm trying to tell you. There were a lot of people that were rich. They had a lot of money, and they gave it all to him because they said, what is good as my money? What do I need the money for? For pleasure. And he is providing me pleasure with no end. Pleasure. Now, having a lot of money is also pleasure. But eventually you get another million, another 10 million, and you compare yourself with this guy, and you see, no, this guy has $1 billion, of $1 million. But your pleasures, you go and you get pleasures, these in the lowest of most stupid, animalistic pleasures, but they loved it. People loved it. And the guy was rich. He had 50 Rolls Royces, and the guy was a nut, right? I think this thing still exists somewhere. But people gave him, he was one of the richest people in the world, I think. And then America finally, they caught him on tax evasion or something like that. He had to run away and he died. But the fact is that people, reason I'm telling you the story is that if a person is not rich spiritually himself, then all of the physical riches that he has is worth nothing. What's it worth? Is it worth absolutely nothing? He doesn't know what to do with himself. It's just the whole thing implodes on itself because all there is just me. And a person realizes that it's a lie. That's not what there is. There's me. There's something more. What's more than me? Pleasure, right? Having whatever it is, being decadent. That's more than me. It just goes upside down. That's what's happening in the world now. The world simply is imploding, right? It's really quite amazing. You got all these woke people and they support Hamas. They support Hezbollah. And Hezbollah would kill them. And they want to kill themselves. The whole woke movement is just a death movement. It's just the whole thing is just coming from the outside in. And like you have Hamas, they rule over this in Gaza, and it's only bad for the people. The people didn't, but they threaten everybody, and everybody has to keep quiet, and the people vote for them. People don't know what's right or wrong. There's no sense of the value of the infinite, precious value of life. That's the thing. That's the thing. So says the Rebbe, that's the whole idea of Judaism, is to show how precious this physical world is, and especially life. And that the Jewish people, therefore, they become rich by true life, which is Torah and the commandments. And that will make them rich even physically, so that they can do the Torah and the commandments, the menuchat nefesh in a calm way, and etc., like the Rambam says. And then they can increase giving charity and doing the commandments in even more a special way, and more special. And in general, to use all of the richness that you have, gold, silver, and copper, in order to make your personal house a mishkan, a holy temple to God. Inside of everyone, including by means of giving charity and building a synagogue or a place of learning, like a mikdash me'at, giving your money to Torah institutions. The Odin, that's the main thing. Torah institutions, generally speaking, are always poor. Generally speaking. Once in a while, you get these Torah institutions that the rich people are really rich and they support them. They don't have any problems, but that's rare. That's rare. Usually the richest, even the ones that are have the richest people in them, the Torah institutions, they have to send people to collect money. They're poor. Usually, that's the way it is. Oh, and even more, we have to build the third temple. Actually build the third temple. After all the explanations, when it says, make me a holy temple and I will dwell within them, including it says that I will dwell within them inside of each and every one, each and every Jew. But the simple meaning is that we have to build a third temple. By means of the Jewish people, we build a third temple. How do we do this? Regarding to us, the intention is that we have to build the third temple. Actually, like the Rambam says, that it has to be built by means of the Moshiach. Moshiach will build the third temple. It will be built in its place. And according to the words of the Rambam, everyone is obligated to participate and to help in themselves and with their money, men, women, children, even men, women, even children. Like it says in this week's Torah portion, just like it was in the tabernacle in the desert. So it's understood that this is going to be with the third temple. Each and every Jew has to help build it. Men, women, and children. Men, women, and even children, even babies, like it was in the Mishkan. That's how it was. Now, how do we build it? According to the Ramban and according to others, and according to it's brought from the Talmud, from the Tosfot, and according to Chassidut and the Arizal, and also the Zohar, it says that the third temple is going to come from heaven. The third temple is going to come from heaven, not only according to Kabbalistic teachings, but according to regular teachings. So how does that fit in with the Rambam that we have to do it ourselves? So the Rebbe explains it different ways. One of the explanations it was given by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, is what do you mean that it's going to come from heaven? We've been working on it for the last 2,000 years. The Jewish people have been working and suffering in exile, getting killed and raped and murdered and thrown in exile and evicted from countries and tortured and the worst possible things in the world. We've been doing that in order to bring Moshiach. That's building it. That's hard work. The hardest work. But the Rebbe said that and another explanation is that we'll bring up the gates. There were the gates that sunk down. It says that we'll bring them up. That's our physical part. And that God will do the rest. He'll bring it from heaven. However it's going to be, we have to participate. So it says, especially in our generation, that we've already been accustomed and educated, and that even children should give charity. In addition to the fact where that I'm making the children emissaries to give charity. The Rebbe used to give out, when the Rebbe would come down, like to pray, so he would bring, like his assistants would come down with like bags of nickels, and he would give out money to the children, nickels to the children, and he would tell the children to put the money into the tzedakah boxes. So that would, then every Sunday the Rebbe would stand for hours and hours, and people would pass by him, and he would give out dollars. And the purpose would be that the people would take the dollars and either give those dollars or exchange them for other dollars, but they would give charity to get people used to giving charity, because people are not used to it. And people are not used to giving charity. They give once in a while. The Rebbe wanted to be a common thing. The Rebbe said you should put a charity box in every room of your house, and best if you could attach it to the wall, so charity becomes part of your house. In addition to the fact that it says that when Adar comes in, we have to be happy, we have to be more happy. And to the fact that when Adar comes in, you have to increase happiness. And that in it, in addition to the commandment that you have to be happy all the time, Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, you have to serve God with happiness, is a sentence in Psalms. Which Psalm is it in? Psalm 100. You have to serve God with happiness. But in addition to that, and it's also a psak din of the Ramah that you have to, and that's the end. The Ramah is one of the Rebbe Moshe Islus. He's a commentary on the Shulchan Aruch, and he said at the every end of the first of the 4 books of the Shulchan Aruch says Tov Leiv Mishta Tamid. You have to have a good, happy, festive heart all the time. Now we're in the beginning of the month of Adar, and this year, by the Rebbe back then in 1992, back then there were 2 Adars. We only have 1. So in any case, we have a special power that God has opened up the pipeline for happiness for the whole entire month of Adar in this year. So therefore, we immediately have to draw power and inspiration from these first days of Adar. It says when you nichnas Adar, in order to increase happiness all the time. And by means of this, shekol echad, that each and every one will accept, take on him, herself, good resolutions, or mevim, which they bring to action, not just to make resolutions, but to actually do them, fulfill them, and to try in every way possible to add and to increase the harbot b'davarim amasamchim, with happy things, beginning even now in a way which is permissible on Shabbat. Don't go home and get your guitar. That's not permissible on Shabbat. But on Shabbat you can sing. Some people say you shouldn't even clap on Shabbat. And Hasidim did clap. The Rebbe said you can clap on Shabbat. Okay, but nevertheless, whatever you can do, according to the Shulchan Aruch, to make you happy on Shabbat in a permissible way, you should do it. And especially that Shebiyom she oh yeah, I didn't pronounce. It's biyom. Sorry, biyom simchatchem. Biyom simchatchem. These are the Shabbases. It says biyom simchatchem or b'moadechem. You should sound shofar in the holy temple. It says the yom of your happiness. There's the holidays, and then there's the happiness. That's even Shabbat. And after that, in a way that you add more happiness every day on the month of Adar. But the Rebbe, there was 2 months of Adar. That every day is like a new visitor. And according to the general principle, like we said, that everything that's in good and everything that is in the category of good and holiness should call everyone that the more, how do you say, alacritous. There's a good word. What's the more energetic and quick you are, the better. You call a marba, and the more good that you do, this is also good. This is better. how much more so that everything has to be shekain tzorech liot. It has to be in not just other things that are holy, but happiness. If you should give charity, and learn more Torah, do more commandments, how much more so you should do more happiness? That happiness itself is a thing which is supposed to be unlimited. How much more so you should increase happiness in the month of Adar? And how much more so in a way that every day adds a little more positivity and happiness than the day before it. Simply, that every single Jew should add a little bit or as much as possible in happiness, whether relating to yourself, whether regarding others, being happy. And by the way, what does it mean to be happy? What's one of the big, causes of happiness? So let's take, first of all, what's one of the big causes of depression is selfishness. Trying to make yourself bigger, more popular, more successful, comparing yourself to others and thinking about yourself. Why am I not in it? So that's a cause for depression. Even though it's not a bad thing to look at other people and to compare yourself with them in order that you should acquire their good character traits, not jealousy, destructive, that you don't want that person to succeed. You want that person to succeed, but you would like also to succeed like that. Okay, but generally speaking, thinking about yourself is not conducive to happiness. And thinking about God is, yes, conducive to happiness. Why? Because God is creating me unconditionally. No matter what I do, it doesn't make God angry. What's the sign? He's creating me. He's still giving me a chance. And even if I do make God angry, but his love and his happiness overpowers it. And what's the sign? Because here I am. I'm being created by God. God is creating me. God is giving me life. So that should make a person happy. When a person knows I can remove my mind from my troubles. Like I said, somebody said a saying, don't tell God how big your troubles are. Tell your troubles how big God is. First of all, you have to, how do you make yourself happy? Number one, by learning Torah. Learning Torah makes you happy. This is the revealed Torah, the hidden Torah. And learning Torah is very good because it brings to deed, doing the commandments. And even more, and this is the main thing, that by means that we increase happiness in learning God's Torah and doing God's commandments, is this will be expressed also that we'll really be happy. We'll be happy that we are in the world, we're alive, and we can serve the Creator. Also, in not just in Torah mitzvahs, but even in regular physical things. When you meet people, you're happy to see a person, a human being. Ooh, that's the whole thing of the month of Adar, that even in the physical world, it should be a good, happy month. And when, like a teaching, it says in the Shulchan Aruch, and also in this is relevant to make yourself happy, to make other people happy, especially the people in your house. The husband should make his wife happy, say nice words, maybe give a gift. Parents should make their children happy in a way that you make them happy, that they become happy. Children are naturally happy, it says. But our job is to make them even happier. And especially when a father makes his children happy, as we see that Al Yedei Zeh, by means of this, when you make the children happy, this adds by them even a greater happiness. Even Sharoim, you can see that when you sometimes when you say a child, Mila Kasher, a severe word because of education. That after this, you see that the child is hitting his brother, and you tell the child, you shouldn't do that. That's your brother. You have to treat him nicely, right? And then there's so you said a harsh word to him. and afterwards you give your child a kiss, you say that I love you very much. You just shouldn't beat your brother up, right? All the time. It's not a nice thing, right? I love your brother too. You should also love your brother. And Hashem loves us all. You should love, okay. It changes his attitude, but it makes the world a little bit happier place because it makes the world God's world. It's not your world. Can also, Lahosif, we have to add on to make other Jews that are around you happy. Like we said before, that by means of this, we said about the two jokers that were in the marketplace, that those are the two people that are going to go to heaven. May it be God's will that adding on in happiness will break through all of the barriers, beginning with the last barriers that there are in exile. And it should be transformed to good and to holiness. There's a lot of people that, the government makes them angry and the world makes them angry and the opposition party makes them angry and the Democrats make them angry and the Republicans make them angry and the president of this country makes them angry and the mayor makes you angry and the governor makes you angry and the economy makes you angry and this religion makes you angry and the rabbis and the religious people and the non-religious people and everybody's finds something to be angry about. And there's a lot of things to be angry about. A lot of things to be angry about. But there's also a lot of things to be happy about. A lot of things to be happy about. There's a saying that you should be like a bee, and not like a fly. What's the difference between them? A bee, if you put him in a big field that's filled with manure, he'll find a flower. And a fly, if you put him in a big field of flowers, he'll find some manure. And both of them buzz around. But one of them is a buzzing that eventually produces honey. And it's true that there's also a stinger over there, right? But nevertheless, one good thing you should learn from the bee, don't look at the stinger part, look at the good thing, right? The same thing. In the life, always see, how to say, the bright side of life. What is it? Good. And there's always something good that you can find in everything. And everything. And it's not that you shouldn't see the bad. You should see the bad in order to correct it. But you have a firm handle on the good. You're not trying to destroy the person totally. May it be God's will that adding on in happiness should break through all the barriers of the exile, that there shouldn't be any more bad things. And the main thing, it should, the last minutes of exile that we're in, that this will become all of a sudden the first moment of the redemption, that it will come by means of our deeds, and especially in joy, and especially by means of the women, the Jewish women, and their merit, they're the ones that will bring us to the redemption. And especially the righteous women that have been, and the Rebbe refers back to a terrible thing that happened in Crown Heights, that a thief broke into a house in the middle of the day and killed a woman in front of her children. And the woman, she died on Kiddush Hashem. The Rebbe dealt with this tremendously. The Rebbe was very, very pained by this tremendously. He said it didn't make any sense why, especially a woman that died was just sanctifying God's name. Maybe God's will that this will be the last bad thing that happens like this. And there shouldn't be any more death at all. And from now on, it should be only long life and good life for every single Jew, and to all of the Jewish people, men, women, and children, in a healthy way, and especially this month where the luck of the Jewish people is healthy, until we go without any, that will pass from this period now where people do die to the raising of the dead, the eternal life, like it was supposed to be with Adam, eternal life forever. May the merit of this woman that was killed, may her merit stand for each one of us, and certainly for her herself, beginning with that so any moment now, Hikitzu V'rananu, that will wake up all of the dead people, they will wake up from the ground, and they will rejoice. Tzaddikim and the Tzaddikiyot, and the righteous Jews come first. And in the place of all of this misery, our mouths will be filled. Yamali schok pino, our mouths will be filled with joy, and our tongue song, and especially by means of making the proper preparations by being happy right now, getting used to being happy. So the Rebbe once said that in the future, there won't be any more disease. So what are you going to need doctors for? To tell people that they're healthy. And I just thought of another meaning, to tell people that they're healthy, and the purpose of Moshiach is to make them more healthy. And you might think to yourself, well, how can you be more healthy? I mean, a person that's healthy is healthy, right? How healthy can you be, right? That you can lift up 1,000 pounds with one hand. Who needs that? Who needs to do it, right? That you can lift up, 20 pounds is good enough. You can jump, instead of jumping 6 feet in the air, you can jump 20 feet in the air. Who cares? Whatever. But that's healthy. So you can jump 20 feet in the air, but I can't do it 40, 80, 90. That's a sign of health. No. How can you be more healthy than totally healthy? So the answer is spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, that your mind can be healthy. There's no end to that. And by connecting yourself more and more to God, then you really jump high. You jump high spiritually, existentially, if you want to call it, by means of doing the commandments, and especially by doing the commandment of tefillin, that by means of this, it says, badach tova, that it makes you very happy. It's something like the filling of your heart with happiness. And anybody doesn't believe this, come with me one day. I go every day to this public place. I ask people to put on tefillin. You see how happy people are to put on tefillin. It's incredible. And especially now we're in the generation of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, that his name was Yosef. Yitzchak means to add joy. This hints at an addition to tzchok and happiness of all the Jewish people, our children, our elders, our sons, our daughters, together with all of their money and their gold with them, with all of their houses and the synagogues, will all fly to the land of Israel, the Holy Land, to Jerusalem, to the holy city, to the holy mountain, to the holy temple, and to the Holy of Holies immediately now.